Hey everybody, I'm Tommy Zamp and I play guitar and get the let out. A lot of you at the shows or in the comments on Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, have asked about gear that I use, and not just like amplifiers or guitars, but some of the other, not so flattering things, if you will. So I wanted to put together a video today containing 5 things that I think every guitar player should have in their bag. And out of those 5 things, this is the stuff that I use. So all the links will be below in the description box. If you feel like picking any of this stuff up and you use those links, it helps me and the channel out. So thank you very much. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and that little bell icon so every time I put out a video, you get a notification. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing, and this is in no particular order, but the first thing that I would like to share with you is guitar strings. Now I use different gauge strings on different guitars and all of that, but I wanted to show you exactly what strings I use, and I'll tell you why. I use Ernie Ball. Ernie Ball strings. I've used these for years. Again, I'm not sponsored by them, or I have no affiliation with them other than I give them my money all the time. And the reason being is they feel great, but most importantly, they sound great and they stay in tune. They sound great and stay in tune, and that's the one thing that I really, that's what does it for me. That's why I always use these. I've used different brands over the years. I've always gone back to Ernie Ball. So the 9-gauge strings, the Super Slinkies, I use these on all of my Telecasters. And that's just because of the project that I'm in. When I'm trying to replicate, Jimmy Page, some guitars I have set up differently. But for all my Telecasters, I have the 9-gauge Super Slinkies. And on my main Les Paul, I have 9s on it as well. On the rest of my electric guitars, I have the 10-gauge strings on it. And I use these primarily because on the rest of my guitars, I play slide. And when I'm playing slide, I like to have, I like a little thicker of a string, a little more tension. I raise the action slightly on it, and I just find that it works out better for me. And that's my personal preference, and, it works for me. I have a 12 string. I have a Dan Electro 12 string that we use on Thank You, and I think Eddie plays it on Stairway. I also use it on Night Flight. But so on that, I use the Ernie Ball 12 strings. And again, they stay in tune and they sound great, and there's no complaints. And it's like a reliability thing. Like I know what I'm getting. It's consistent every single time. And moving on from the electric guitars, you may or may not be surprised right now, but for my acoustic guitars, drum roll please, I use these. I use the Ernie Ball Paradigms. Now I use these, they're 11 to 52, right? Yeah, 11 to 52 gauge, and I use them because they have the coating on it. They're a little, they're warm sounding, but a little bit more on the top end, and they last a long time. We just finished up our whole summer and fall run, and these strings consistently night after night sound great, and I'm not having to go through them as frequently as other strings. Now I have used, and I have some of these as backups. I've tried their Earthwood. Now these sound really good as well. The longevity of them, if you're doing outdoor gigs, I think I got like 2 gigs out of a set of strings, maybe 3, and they were toast. Whereas with these, I'm getting close to, maybe I could do 8 shows before I'm like, okay, it's time to change these strings. And I'm not talking about a guitar I play one time on one song, and I don't play it again, maybe not the next night. This is consistently every night, multiple songs for a couple hours every night. So difference is these are like $4 or $5 a set. This is like $15 a set. I don't know. You do the math. You got to do what works for you. But I like the Paradigms. Another, if you're not, if you don't want to go with the Ernie Ball for whatever reason, I have also used these frequently. And this is actually the spare from in my acoustic case. I just opened it up and found this. But Diodario coated phosphor bronze EPX 26. These are great sounding strings. They last a really long time. They stay in tune as well. You know, D'Addario has been around forever. You can't go wrong. So if you want, if you're a fan of D'Addario, this is the set that I use. So that does it for the strings. And if you break a string, then you got to have a spare. So that's why you should always have a spare set of one of whatever gauge you're playing. If you have 3 guitars and different strings on each one, have 3 backup packs. When you break a string, what do? You got to change it. You're going to need a winder, and then you got to have a cutter, okay? And this one is the Planet Waves. It's pretty cheap. I've had this, I don't know, 8 years, something like that. But I can't find this anywhere online, but I found a D'Addario one that I linked below. If you want to grab one of these, it's a one-stop shop for all your string winding and cutting needs. Look at that. There's a sales pitch for you. And that does it for the strings. So like I said, each guitar that I have and get the let out, I have set up differently. Some the action's raised a little bit for the slide, some it's not. But yeah, so that does it for the strings. The other thing that I think every guitar player should have is a good set of strap locks. Now, if you are moving around on stage, sometimes your strap gets a little wonky towards where it slides over the button. That's why a set of strap locks comes in handy. Go ahead, pick a pair of these up. You put them on your strap, you lock it on your guitar, and you don't ever have to worry about it falling down. That being said, these don't last forever. So here's a little story for you. We were doing a show in Ocean City, New Jersey at the Music Pier, and we were in the middle of When the Levee Breaks, and I do all the slide lead lines on that. So in between, I'm standing on stage, and I just kind of move my arm this way, and I look over my guitar tech, John's, to my right, and I just kind of look at him, and my guitar just breaks away, goes right down, and is going down. It's going to hit the stage. Strap locks broke off, and I caught the headstock with my left foot, and it caught like this to keep it from hitting the stage and breaking the headstock. But I caught the neck with my foot, and then it slid across the stage. And I'll never forget John's face, the look of horror on his face. It was, I probably matched him. But needless to say, the guitar's fine. Otherwise, you would have seen a grown man cry in front of an entire audience. That's my guitar I've had my entire career, and it's been all over the world with me. But anyway, this has a happy ending. I got a new set of strap locks. I'll show you a little quick video right here, but you can see how it was on there for 20 years. It just corroded away, moving around, the metal rubbing on. You can see it actually breaks through. Well, it wasn't hooking on anymore, and it gave way. And thankfully I was there to catch it and, saved a really bad thing from happening. But needless to say, keep an eye on your strap locks. They don't last forever, but it's definitely a worthy investment, okay? And these are the ones that I use on all of mine. All right, so let's talk about these little tuners. This is a Snark tuner. I think these things are great. You put it on your headstock, just like so. You tune. It tells you everything you have to know right there on the screen, and then you're done. These things come in handy when you're in like a dressing room or you're backstage. You don't have access to your pedal board, and you're warming up. You want to try something else. Easy to use. The only thing I say about these is there's a user error effect, and that's really just on you or me or whoever. This little gray button turns it on. Where is it? Turns it on, turns it off. See what's not happening? It's not turning on or turning off because the battery's dead. And I'll tell you why. I use it and I never turn it off. I don't know why. I look at it, I'll clamp it on, I'll tune up, and then I'll take it off and I'll put it in my bag. And then next thing I know, I go to use it again, and the battery's dead. It's because you don't ever turn it off. I don't know if I'm the only one that doesn't do this, but it seems to be. I go through those 2032 batteries, those little nickel-sized ones, like running water. It's absurd. But yeah, if you can make sure you turn this thing off, they come in handy. And the worst is when you go to use it, like now, and it doesn't work because the battery's dead. So something to keep in mind. Another thing is we've all been there. you get a little crackly sound in your pedal board, or something's not working, you have a bad cable. So having a couple of these extra patch cables in your bag is definitely something I would recommend. These things they're cheap. These are the Ernie Ball ones. I've used the Planet Waves. I've used good lord, I've used Hosa, if that's even how you pronounce it, Hosa. But I'll leave a link to these little 6-inch patch cables below. They're great. You can, pretty much go through your entire board and troubleshoot. Oh, here's the bad one. Pull it out, put a new one in, and you should be good to go. And that also goes with instrument cables. Sometimes if you're not on a wireless system and you're on a smaller stage, sometimes the connections in here, you can open it up and you can see, well, this one's got the rubber sealant on it, but you'll be able to see if it's damaged. You can replace these. You can fix these if you go with a soldering iron. You can fix these pretty easy. You can make your own. There's plenty of things out there, plenty of options. But I'll leave a link to a 10-foot cable. They're always good, and this is no dig at bass players, but sometimes bass players need some help too. So not only are these cables for guitar players, but for anybody. It's good to be in a band that has somebody that is prepared for anything. So be that guy. Make sure that you're able to help out your friends, because there's nothing worse than them coming up to you and be like, dude, my cable's dead. Do you have an extra one? You go, sorry, man, I can't help you out. So food for thought, if you will. And it appears that the long guys are here, and I don't know if you can hear that, but if so, my apologies. Anyway, so what do you play your strings with? Well, every guitar player, I don't know about you guys, but in this little pocket here, guitar picks. And the guitar picks that I use are the Holy Grails, the Herco Holy Grails. I love these. This one comes with a little bit of pocket lint, free of charge. And I like that it has a little grip on it. You can hold it. You can actually scrape it across the strings, get a different kind of sound. Multiple uses for these things. The different gauges that you get will make the guitar sound differently, from light, super light, feathery, to thick plectrums, if you will. Give it, a meatier sound. You'd be surprised. Get a bunch of different picks. Try them out for yourself and see what you can do. Get some of your own ones made. There you go, little Tommy Zamp. I throw these things out, so if you get some, all right, good on you. And those are the guitar picks that I use. I put them back in this pocket because you never know when someone's going to hand you a guitar and go, hey man, play me something cool. And you don't want to be the guy going, hey, can I have a guitar pick? So, anyway, what else is on my list? This video is getting long. I'm sorry. I just want to get to these things. And like I said, in no particular order. But we've done strings, a tuner, some cables, a guitar picks, your power supply. So here's another thing that you should always have a backup of, because you plug in your pedal board and you unplug it all the time. And sometimes the connection gets wonky. Sometimes the cable gets bent. Anyway, right there. One spot. I have like 15 of these things. They're around here. I have a bunch of different pedal boards that I use for different gigs. They're all in those. They're built really well, super sturdy, and yeah, I fold them up, I wrap them up, I throw them in each one of my pedal boards. They're there, and I have another one in all of my cases as a backup in case it goes down, or if somebody else needs one at the gig. Those are the 5 things that I would definitely recommend having. And then there's some extra bonus stuff here. If you're a slide player, I like playing slide. I play slide a lot, and I use the Dunlop 220 Chrome all the time. You can see that's the diameter. And you can also notice I use the Joe Perry Boneyard one, the porcelain slide. Now look at the difference though. Like, you can see the difference in the diameter and how it sits on your hand, how it feels. Each one gives you a little bit of a different sound. I feel like this is a little more aggressive and bright. This is a little softer. You can kind of get that glassy glisten, if you will. Another cool one that I like to use on acoustic guitars is the brass one. These are really good. Different sounding slides, man. The metal affects everything. Everything affects the way a guitar sounds. So try them out. See which ones you like and see which ones work best for you. Well, that'll do it for the 5 essentials, plus some bonus items that I think every guitar player should have in their bag. I hope this helped and gave you some ideas. If you want to pick up any of these items, the links will be in the description box below. Please use those links. It helps me out, and you still get the same cool items. Please hit that like and subscribe, and that little bell icon so you can be notified of all my future video releases. And until we see each other again, my friends, be well. Nothing but peace and love. I'll see you soon. All right. Cheers.